people so determined for self-government that they reach across the bounds of time and space and dedicate themselves to a purpose that is almost second to none in the world. My association with the Sudanese people has been limited to the time that I have worked with them at my church down at Dodge and Grant. And that's been about 8 years when we first opened the doors of the church to what was then the Lost Boys of Sudan, then the Southern Sudanese Resettlement Program, and in our church we taught them nursery, family planning, English, computer, and food preparation. And it was a heartwarming experience to see that reach out into the family or the community of the Sudanese. It is overwhelming to me that so many people have found their way to Tucson and to what we have to offer to you here. It would be the realization of a majestic dream if we could say today that your struggle was over, that the political issues have been resolved, and that both the North and the South have found a way to coexist and work toward the improvement of the vital needs of the people in both regions. Unfortunately, we realize that certainly is not the case. And we know that the road ahead is going to be long at times. It's going to be marked with disappointments and grief. And the struggle for sovereignty is never easy, particularly in a world that is so strewn with ideological differences. I know of no time in history when the nation has divided itself and has immediately found common ground upon which to build their respective nations while markedly improving the quality of life for its citizens. The end of the road, however, will be identified with achievement, the realization of dreams fulfilled, and the ability to raise up families of educated people free from the terror of war with a quality of life that they need and much deserved happiness. It will happen by your determination and by the providence of God who watches over us with who are the faithful and who are driven by selfless determination. We in the United States can relate to the struggle that you have endured, as well as the ones that the Sudanese will face in the future. Our struggles for freedom and independence took the lives of many people across the oceans of the world, but they were courageous and determined efforts, and they still linger in the annals of history. But along the way, we accepted into our citizenry people of like ideals from around the world, and together a nation rose up second to none, whose people have not only secured their place in history, but have reached out to others like yourselves who are determined to do what is right, just, and acceptable in the sight of God. My church, the Church of the Brethren, has been actively involved in the affairs of the Sudanese people since 1980. And I have to tell you, I represent a very, very small church in the city of Tucson, but we are part of a denomination that reaches across the country and reaches across the world. The Brethren, you see, are never blind to the plight of people who face hardship due to economic conditions, or to adversaries who lack human compassion, the hostile forces of nature, insufficient concern by other nations of the world, territorial and ideological disputes, and a host of other situations that have impeded their progress on the world scene. Brethren concern, I tell you, focuses on people. That's what we're all about. Those who hunger and suffer illnesses. Those who cry out to the world for help. Those who need us to be there with missionaries, with healing, with food, building, helping, growing, and nurturing people who seek the way of life that all of you seek today. We have work to feed, cure, and build, and we are saddened by the plight of the Sudanese people. We will, however, continue in what we're doing, and you can count on the fact that the Church of the Brethren, small as it may be, will be in Sudan, and we will be assisting you in what you're trying to do for your new nation. I would be certainly remiss if I didn't remind you today that we are all children of God who won a greater freedom many, many years ago in a faraway place on a hill called Golgotha. The epitome of pain and suffering was endured there for people like you, and I say that because a human struggle could not have taken place the way it does today without that sacrifice that was made on behalf of all of us. We all want to